Action.
Are you filming this thing? Right now? Alright, so what can we talk about?
What was your inspiration for Egomaniacs?
Well, I think that the inspiration was knowing that there are services out there that take it upon themselves to take money for subscriptions, steal it from people, not give them their money's worth, and not protect the people they're sworn to protect. There's medical or services out there that just take people's money and run and use it for company growth. So that was the basis for it. Other than that, it just kind of built off the disgust of employees that would work in that kind of a setting. And you know, in the movie, it doesn't really portray the company as bad. It portrays the three main protagonists, well, anti-heroes, as the guys that are pretty much, they're not bad, not good. That's why they're an anti-hero. And it's pretty much their obnoxious kind of behavior that brings out the worst in everyone around them. You know, they're not so bad until they become criminals, but they bring out the worst in everyone around them just by treating life as a trivial thing.
Are these anti-heroes based on real people?
For the most part, yeah. They're based on, one of them's me, one of them's my best friend Dave, and one of them is a guy that we hung out with that's a little bit older than us. His name's Mike, and we just kind of took our characters and made them into three guys, well, made them more cartoonish, and made them into three guys that were sick of society, so they built their own. And that's when you meet them, when they've lived in their own enclosed society, and they just kind of pretty much live godless and in their own world that they've created as a reaction to everything that they don't like around them. And that's when you meet them. They already know each other. You see them in their own world, and they don't really recognize anything on the outside.
What do you want people to walk away from after watching this movie?
I want people to go back to when humor was humor, I think. I mean, there's a lot of swears and bad stuff in it, which I approve of too. But I think I want people to go back in there and laugh at the things they laughed at when they were kids. Like, you know, Looney Tunes humor, the Three Stooges humor, like the underlying themes of it and the ideas presented within, you know, those kind of first generation right off of vaudeville productions that they made. I want people to go back and remember those initial television and movie things that they saw right when vaudeville ended and became Hollywood.
I know Dave isn't here, but do you have anything to say in his behalf?
Well, I would like to say that on his behalf, you know, the two of us came up with this idea like 10 years ago, and it was supposed to be the three anti-heroes robbing from a movie theater, and when nobody was around and there were no alarms, and they take the money and run across the country. But instead we just took the idea of a medical alert company and put them in there, and they did their kind of vaudeville, modern day vaudeville humor, you know, throughout. And that's the funny thing, is most movies ruin themselves by fixing themselves up in the end. I think Dave would agree with me on that. So I think the good thing in this movie is that the movie doesn't do a lot of comedy and then struggle to figure itself out and fix up the story at the end. I think there's a lot of kind of comedy along the way, and you know, we just kind of put montages in because there's no reason to, you know, just bore everybody and go back and fix up the storyline for the last half hour and bore them. The comedy is throughout the movie, and we show, you know, a lot of the action through montages, so people can still laugh through the movie, and it doesn't really interrupt anything by slowing itself down. It keeps a nice steady pace throughout.
Yeah, because like the world isn't bad, it's them.
Yeah, it's them. They're the bad ones, and they kind of get worse as things go along. They end up burying a couple of guys that want to steal the money they end up with. They end up burying them alive and then see on the newscast that the two guys, in the next scene they see on the newscast that those two guys are missing, and they just laugh, which means they pretty much got overtaken by greed and they don't really have any feelings, almost like a serial killer. But it's just in good fun. It's not really that violent. But that's what I meant about the things where they kind of have themes, like they did in the Looney Tunes and Three Stooges. Like, there's just underlying themes and this like kind of menacing presence about comedy in general. So I think if you recognize kind of the bad intentions sometimes of comedy, it's funny, even though it's a tragic situation sometimes.
It is just a movie.
Yeah, it's just a movie.
Alright.